Welcome back to the Galactic Guide podcast. I'm your host, Angharad Sage, and today we're going to be talking about reflections that I have noticed collectively from 2022 and my 2023 predictions and themes that I see coming through for next year. Every week, I'm going to be doing a shout out to a very special listener every single week. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to your Instagram or your Facebook, or wherever you've tagged me that you've listened to this podcast, and I'm going to go through your profile and I'm going to give you some fucking love, and I'm going to do a shout out for people to come and follow you. So if you want some love, all you have to do is take a screenshot of this podcast or a screen recording of something that is the tits in any episode that you listen to, and tag me at Angharad Sage or at Your Galactic Guide on Instagram to be featured as a listener of the week. So firstly, this year in 2022, I noticed that the gap of the dualities became bigger. This is because you have changed significantly from who you are and where you're heading. And as you master your multidimensionality, holding lots of different frequencies at once, what happens is you get to experience this stretching, the timeline. It just looks like a line from A to B. The polarities, the dualities, the gap has just got bigger. And this is a testament to your ability to hold multiple frequencies, multiple dimensions at once. 2022 has been a deep integration year of all of the healing that you have done previously, as I shared in the first episode of this season, episode 144, around the spiritual activations for spiritual entrepreneurs, the holiday activations for spiritual entrepreneurs, rather. So although it can feel like 2022 has been a deep year of healing, because it always is, there's multiple layers to healing, but really when I look back at it and zoom out at it, it's actually been a year of integration. This has been the year, people talk about the prove it moment with the universe. Have you actually proved that you have? Can you prove that you have actually integrated this? This has been what 2022 has been. 2022 has been a softer year. It has been a more feminine year. It has been a year that you probably took a lot more deep rest. And in that time, you would have extracted a lot of wisdom, which we're going to touch into for the themes that I see coming in through for next year. It's also been an end of a cycle. So a lot of us have noticed that we do go through cycles and go through seasons. And, the earth goes through seasons, the earth goes through big cycles. We have our feminine cycle, we have the moon cycle, we have the seasons, we have, if you're a manifester, you have, like me, you have the in and out times. If you're an emotional authority, you have the cycles, right? We're cyclical beings. We are part of this 3D earth plane where there are cycles. And this has been an end of a cycle, a big, 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 deep cycle of healing. And part of that is as we go through the different dimensions, there's people who say there's 12 dimensions or 10 or 9 or 13, however many. I don't personally know. Don't think it really needs to be labeled. But say, for instance, there are 10 dimensions and you went through all 10 dimensions over the past, say, 10 years or how long your awakening process, your first awakening process took. You will then go back to the first dimension again and climb all the way back up through it again. But it's actually not the first dimension, it's actually the 11th dimension, because you are going through the first dimension with all the knowledge and wisdom and integration and healing that you've done and everything that you know from the first to the 10th dimension. So it's actually the 11th dimension. So part of being in this framework, being in this organic world, this 3D world, is we are going to go through cycles, but you're never back at square one again. So even if you feel like you're back at square one again, you're not, because feelings are not facts, right? It's really the 11th and then 12th and 13th and then 22nd and 23rd and 24th. And we will continue to go round and around and around for our evolution in the name of our evolution. It's also been a huge year of ego death. So many of us, and I have so much to share about this, so much to share about this in future episodes, but 2022 marks a year that a huge part of our ego died. The part of the ego that was no longer aligned with the future of where we're going. But also, I just want to take a side note about ego. Ego is not all a bad thing. There are parts of it that have shadows, of course, just like everything has shadows. But our ego is our ability to see ourselves as individuals. And that is the reason why we are on this earth plane, right? But also we are multidimensional entities, which means that the ego gives us the illusion that we are separate. But at the same time, there are two truths. The other truth is that we are all one, that we are all from the same place, that we are connected to so many other timelines and realities and quantum, that just, it blows my human brain. Honestly, blows my human brain. So this year, it has been a big laying down of our ego and sitting and being in the at oneness. And finally, 2022 has been a huge year that we focused on our relationships. There has been a whole lot more depth that has come through in our relationships, through our vulnerability, through our healing, through our conscious choice to go deeper. And that hasn't felt easy. That hasn't been an easy thing. So what I'd like you to do is to reflect on how your relationships have evolved and changed, and mark that and witness it and see yourself deeply as to what you've integrated, what you've learned, and what's changed. For 2023, my predictions, my psychic predictions, the themes that I see coming through, the first one is that I just want to acknowledge that you may not know where you're heading yet in 2023. And part of this, honestly, is probably because of your ego death. Because the ego has a lot of drive, right? Because it's our separation that creates a lot of drive. And so as you step into 2023, you may not know yet where you are heading. And that is perfect and that is fine. Can you sit in that void? Can you trust yourself? Some structures will return in 2023 that we had previously let go of. Now, the reason why we let go of things, so it can be things like your morning routine, it can be your journaling, it can be something to do with your health, it can be parts of your business, parts of relationships, however the structures you used to have, the things that used to bring you a lot of joy through structures, or brought you a lot of development, or brought you a lot of peace, or brought you a lot of healing. Some of these things will return. Now, the reason why we eventually break all patterns is because, let's take journaling for instance. When I got into the personal development space years ago, journaling was a way that I got to know myself. It's a way that I created time for myself. It was part of my morning routine. It was something that I prioritized for myself. And I didn't used to ever prioritize my energy for me ever, let alone morning energy. So it was freedom to me. It was to get to know myself. It was to heal layers and understand myself and see where I want to go and see my truest, purest desires that I hadn't even allowed myself to see before. And then in 2022, it disappeared. I very rarely journaled in 2022. Because freedom is only freedom until it's a structure. Once it's a structure, once it's predictable, it has lost the element of freedom. And so there will be times where we have to break the mold in the name of our freedom again, even if it's something that brought us so much joy, or so much development, or so much peace, or so much desires, whatever it is. We eventually have to break it and burn it down in the name of freedom, in the name of sovereignty, in the name of choice, right? In the name of, just because we want to burn it down because it wasn't our freedom anymore. That structure wasn't freedom anymore. Now, what I do see in 2023 is a lot of these things returning, or some things returning in the name of freedom, because we've had the period of breaking it down, and we will bring it back in a completely new way. More than likely, there will be fresh elements, but just don't judge yourself on that journey, because structures will be returning in 2023. 2023 is going to be a year that you have stronger self-boundaries. This might look like muting people on Instagram. This might look like how you communicate with people, or the type of people that are in your close sphere. But there's going to be a huge theme of your boundaries, because you need to stop muting yourself. You need to stop avoiding yourself. You need to stop avoiding layers of you. And when we get busy, and when we don't have the right boundaries, and when we have energy leaks, this is the perfect little breeding ground for those bacterias of avoiding ourselves to breed, right? Because in 2023 is going to be the year that you really, really integrate preferring what is occurring. Not preferring what you want, preferring what is occurring. This is a huge opportunity for you to trust yourself, the universe, God, co-creative energies, your higher self, the other versions of you, however you want to label it, whatever you connect most deeply with. There is a deep design plan. And there was many years where we all focused on, I am the creator, and I am the I am, and I am the person who's driving the ship and steering the ship. And also, while that is also true, it is also true that we get to prefer what is occurring. And for a lot of us who have a very deep feminine core, this is one of the most powerful frequencies that we can ever embody. I said to a client a couple of days ago on a call, in a mastermind call, what is flow if we judge it? What is the point to flow if we judge it? What is the point to feminine energy if we judge it? What is the point to preferring what is occurring if we judge it? What is the point to avoid if we judge it? So I want you to meditate over that. What is the point to flow if you judge it? Now, as you head into 2023, I want you to ask yourself, whether it's through some journaling, whether it's through some meditation, whether it's while you're walking or just after this podcast when you finish listening, I want you to ask yourself, how can I enjoy the journey of desiring? One of the things that I noticed when I look back at my journey is that I love the journey of desiring something. It's not just the receiving of the 7-figure business or the $100,000 a month or the relationship changing or the holiday or the bag or the whatever it is, the thing that I was desiring, the property, the love, the play, the joy. It's not just that brings the joy. It's also the journey. We love the journey. If you didn't love the journey, you wouldn't fucking be here. You wouldn't be listening to this. And in 2023, I really want you to captivate and cultivate that love for the journey. So how can you enjoy the journey of desiring?